Okay, we are recording today's lesson, so those of you that want to mute your screens, please do so. But make sure your volume is muted, or your mic is muted for sure. We're going to talk today about some resources, some you already know about, and this is just a good reminder, and some you may not be aware of. First, I want to talk about anything that you have that's a book. So we have our red books, blue books. Some of you even have green books. I grabbed one that I happen to have here at the high school, which is in the same tradition of excellence. It's just a different book, but you can see it says tradition of excellence right there. If you look in the back of your books, and this one happens to be a saxophone book, a bari sax book, so that's the big sax. In the back, you're typically going to find fingerings or positions, depending on what instrument you play. If you're a percussionist, you're going to find things like rudiments and which bars to hit on a xylophone or that sort of thing. But for those of us that do woodwind and brass, these are going to come in really handy, because you're going to look up songs and play some things, and you're going to find a note or two you're just like not familiar with, or we haven't done enough that you're familiar with. And because of that, you're going to want to look in those back of the books. Another thing I really enjoy, and we've done some of this in class, are rhythm studies. Now, this is a more advanced book, so some of the rhythms you're going to see in here are pretty intense. But they're pretty neat, where they sort of are set up on their own as different things to practice without having to worry about what fingering you're using or what pitch you're playing. You can do whatever you'd like. If you want to play and change note every rhythm or every measure or every time you go through something, that's one way to help practice. And all of your books have these in the back. And you can try in different time signatures too. But there's also what I think is super helpful are scales. This particular book has that circle of fifths we had talked about before and passed out. If you don't have this in your book, since this one I'm holding is more of an advanced book, it's in there, but you may not have that there. You can simply Google circle of fifths and you'll find that without a problem. But you're going to find scales in here, and they'll be listed in order typically of importance. So for most of us, it's going to start with a concert B flat or a concert F, and that note might be different starting on your instrument. As most of us know, if we're talking about any bass clef instrument, so trombone, baritone, tuba, timpani, if you're a percussionist, that's going to be in concert pitch. So the note I say is the note you play. And if we're in treble clef, if you're a piano player, a xylophone player, a bell player, or a flute player, that's going to be concert pitch. Where the differences come in would be saxophone. If you're just alto saxophone, you're in concert E flat. That means something different, and most of you know how to translate that. So if you're a saxophone, you're playing in G instead of B flat if we're playing B flat. And if you're a trumpet or a clarinet, you are a B flat instrument, which means if I say concert B flat, you're going to play a C. But none of that should be new to any of you guys. I think you know all that. If we have any French horn players on this chat, I don't know if we do, they're in F. So they're going to, if I say play a concert B flat, they have a whole different note to play. They're playing a concert F scale. So it's a whole different ballgame with them. But in most of your books, if you look where it says in this case, E major scale for this particular instrument, this saxophone, the concert pitch is in parentheses after that. So that's an important distinction to make. Once you know what note to start on, you're just going to play your scales up and down with the sharps and flats listed. Here's a great way to practice. Just talking about looking in your books, that's no fun. We want to do something more fun. So I'm going to try to present my screen. And if I do this properly, I'm going to show you some sites that are going to be great for that. Just give me a nod up and down if you can see this thing that says musictheory.net. Okay, that's what I was hoping to show you. I've got that above me now, so you're going to see me looking up a lot if you look at my screen. But this musictheory.net is an amazing website. I'm going to say that again. You may want to write this down, musictheory.net. If you don't even write with, don't worry. I'm going to post this video when it's done, and you'll be able to check it out. But musictheory.net has so many cool things. Now, what it's showing here at the top are different apps you can get if you've got a tablet or a phone. But what we're going to do is the online computerized version, so it looks a little bit different than this, because we can use it right here on the computer. I'm going to click on lessons and just show you a couple things in here. You're going to find so many things in here. We don't have time to talk about this in just 20 minutes. I'm going to click on lessons. And then right away, these are lessons. These are how do I do this thing? So if you're wondering about the staff, the clefs, how do I read music? There's a basic tutorial on this. And I can click on the next thing and it's going to highlight what we're talking about. And that's pretty cool. It's showing you how that correlates to the piano. So any of you percussion people, this is exactly what you do on the mallets. So it's really good to note that. There are some audio links as well, so you can hear different pitches. But if you're a piano player or a mallet player, this is fantastic for what you want to do. We can go down here and talk about different clefs, treble and bass. Those are the two we deal with. And then as you keep going, this is actually training you how to use these different pieces of information. If I click this little speaker here, it's actually playing the note. So you have a reference point there, which I think is pretty cool. If I go back, you can see there's a ton of different things. If you're comfortable with your note names and all that, maybe you want to practice note duration. How do my quarter notes, eighth notes, half notes work? So it's going to show you how these things work. And again, you can scroll up and down. You can hit left and right, and it'll go down for you. And it's going to teach you those things that you probably already know, but maybe you haven't done recently. And so this little extra tutorial is probably going to help. I love it. So we can even go down and talk about time signature. We can talk about key signature and how all that works, how the keys work, sharps, flats, how notes and chords. This gets really, really complicated the farther down you go. But if you're just comfortable with these few things, that's okay. Do that. That's going to help. Now, what gets really fun is if I click on exercises. So let's say we've learned everything we want to learn. I'm going to click on exercises. And maybe I'm doing something simple like note identification. So I'm going to click that. And it creates a game. And what's great about this game is you can customize it if you see up here in the corner. So right now, that's a really high note. A few of you would even know what that is or how to use that. So maybe I'm going to click on this gear here. Maybe I'm a bass clef player. I'm going to switch this to bass clef and take off the treble clef. So you can set it up the way you want. Now, if I come back, it's in bass clef, and I can practice if I'm a trombone player or a tuba player. If I want to change the range, so let me go back to treble clef, and I'm going to check the range. So the range is how high or low the notes are going to go. I'm going to click that. And then all I can do, I can grab this and go, I don't play notes that high. I'm just going to move it to there, and I'm going to move it to there. Maybe those are all the notes I deal with. So maybe this is a trumpet. Now, when I come out of here, the only notes that are going to pop up on this quiz, on this lesson, are the notes that I said are okay. So I'm going to look at that. I'm looking at my key signature. Somebody type in what note that is. Who's got that? G. Okay, Madeline says G. I'm going to click G. Oh, it turned red, not a G. E. Okay, click E. It goes green. You hear it. You got a point, 1 out of 2 tries, and then it moves on to the next one. So if you plow through this really fast, you can, oh, see, now we have an accidental. So it's a G flat. So probably I just said that faster than you can type, but boom. So it's a cool trainer that way. If you want to get really tricky on some of these things, you can go up to here to positions, lines only, spaces only. Key signatures. Right now, it's set so there's no key signature listed here. But what if I want to practice in concert B flat? I could put that there and then go back, and now everything is going to be in concert B flat. So it's a great, fun way to practice this stuff. Note names. We do it alphabetical. This weird stuff over here is like if you lived in Germany or France and wanted to change it up. So don't worry about that. What else we got? Helpers. Helpers are kind of fun. They put the note names on the side of the lines and spaces because maybe you just need a refresher. So it's good to have those there and practice with your helpers. Accidentals. So that means, am I throwing sharps and flats and naturals into my notes, or am I just going to stay with the key signature? If I turn this off, it'll only use the notes in the key signature and not add extra sharps and flats. So no matter what note pops up, it won't change the key signature. That's a cool thing to add into there. Now, why was that one wrong? Why was that E wrong? Anybody know? Because that's definitely on the E, but I clicked it and it came up wrong. You can type in if you know the answer as to why that was wrong. Let's see who pops up. I see some people. Kira says it's a high E. It's in B flat. Ah, Madeline hit this one. So even though I'm looking across this side, I see it says E. I look over here, I don't see anything, but I got to look up at my key signature, and this E is marked flat. And if that's marked flat in my key signature, that's good for all the E's in the song. So that even includes this E. So if I go to E flat, it was correct. So that's a cool way to keep track of your key signatures and just kind of challenge yourself. It's worth noting that there are a ton, and here's all the exercises. There are a ton of things. You can do this for days, and you can get, as you go down and down and down, if we've got any guitar players in here, fretboard identification. That's going to help you practice on your frets with the way you're playing the guitar. Keyboard ear training. Keyboard training is perfect for you mallet players. Keyboard, because that's the same thing as your bells or your marimba or your xylophone. Practice that, because getting your note names right is really important. So you come up here, you set your parameters, treble, clef. Let's make these notes more manageable. And then I go up here, and instead of telling you what note it is, I have to play you the note it is. So that's an E flat. I'm going to find C, D, E, and then E flat, and I got it right. So you can practice your bells and your mallets this way all online. Now, let's move on. There's some other sites, and for those of you wind players, so brass and woodwind, there are so many sites out there. If you type in clarinet fingering trainer, or flute fingering trainer, or saxophone fingering trainer, or there's a lot out there. They're all different websites, but this one, for instance, this one's just called clarinettrainer.com. You can actually go in and try to figure out a note. So it says right here, what's this note? And that's an A. So I got to figure out how do I play an A? That's an A. I'm finding my A. And then it shows you the fingering on how to play that. You press down that, you press down that, you press down those, and it gives you some great fingerings. Flute, flutetrainer.com. This one's kind of interesting because you can set it up easy, medium, or hard, and you see it's showing you what fingers to press to get your right fingering in. You can come up here and press down different ones, and if you get it right, good for you, and if you get it wrong, it'll tell you. And I'm clicking around, and you can try to select the different fingerings. You can go easy, medium, hard, that kind of thing. This is just for fun on your own to figure out better ways of playing your instrument. The saxophone trainer isn't as pretty, but does the same thing. So it's like, how do you play a B? I think it's that. And then you could check. And it says, yes, I got a score of 100%. That is a B. Let's see if I get it wrong. Let's go. Okay, F sharp. Let me say it is those buttons, which is close, but not quite right. I'm going to submit. Oh, it says no. It showed me what I got right and then told me what I got wrong. I forgot to press down that key, and then it shows me what the right ones are. So that's pretty cool. And this one has different levels, so that would just be harder and harder and harder, that kind of thing. Okay. Trumpet, this one's a little more interactive. This one's different. If I click play, it's going to say, give me a note with 0 valves pushed down. So that one got right. Now give me a note with the second valve pressed down. I think maybe it's that one, but no, that would be F sharp, and that's not F sharp. So, oh, here's a B. That uses your second valve. Boom. And so you can go through and play different things. I was still looking for one that did trombone. I was having issues finding that, but I did find this one called Brass Trainer. And remember, I'm going to post these videos so you can go onto the video, you can scroll till you find this spot, and then you can type in what I've got there. This one right here is showing notes, so it's telling you which one to press. It says to answer, hold down the keys that correspond to the correct valves and press space. So literally on your computer, you're going to press down 1, 2, or 3, which is going to equal a left arrow, a down arrow, and the right arrow. You put down the right one, hit space, that'll record. If I go over to set instrument and I change that to trombone, oh, set instrument, there we go. Now it's trombone. To answer, press the key that corresponds to the correct slide position. So we got any trombonists on here? What's the correct slide position for that note? That's a G. See if we got any trombones on here. It's either a 1 through 7. Marcus says 3. I'm going to press down the number 3. Oh, it was close. Yep, or 4. He just popped it with or 4. Here's a low A. That one's a 2. So, yep, thank you, Kayla. I'm going to hit 2. Kayla says 2 and see what comes up. It doesn't really say good job, but if you look over here, it changes this to correct and then moves on to the next one. It's when you get it wrong. This one's a 5, so I'm going to hit 6 just so it comes up wrong. It says incorrect, and then it moves to the next one, and it gives me a second incorrect. You can set the range like on that other one. When I click range, beginner, intermediate, advanced, so you can spread out as one as you can. You can put, do I allow flats or not? Do I allow sharps or not? That kind of thing. So that's kind of cool. This is for all for brass. So if you're a trumpet, French horn, trombone, baritone, euphonium, or tuba, you have this great trainer here. So I just wanted to give you these ideas on, because playing our instrument isn't just about the act of making sound. It's about a lot of brain power and using that properly. And it's kind of hard to just be motivated to do all that on your own when we're stuck in here. But with some of these online resources, you could practice your fingerings and it feels more exciting like a game. And these are only a couple things. What I would suggest, if you find something really cool, share it as a post in our Google Classroom. Just share the relevant ones, because when we get all the weird ones, it's hard to get through what's relevant and what's not. But once this is posted, I will send a link out in a post that says, here's the recording of the workshop we just did on fingerings and scales and keys, and then start posting to the bottom of that some other sites you found that could be really useful. I want to thank you all for coming out today. Let me stop presenting so I can wave bye. There we go. So I want to say bye, everybody, and have a great weekend. And just keep practicing and trying some new stuff. It's just going to pay off. We'll see all you guys another time. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.